been following our conversation over the past few weeks. Of course, it's that time of the year. Road safety is paramount. Christmas around the corner. So we want to take the conversation further, especially with the House of Representatives recently passing the second reading for a bill seeking to empower officers of the Federal Road Safety Commission to bear arms in order to make the agency operate better. Well, the bill also seeks to empower the FRSC with powers of clearing of obstruction on any part of the public roads and for educating drivers, motorists, and other members of the public generally on the proper use of public roads. In the 8th Assembly, this same bill was introduced in the House of Representatives. It was unsuccessful, though. Now, the bill has been unanimously supported by the members of the House after a voice vote for its passage, and it has, passed second reading. The lawmakers have now adopted the motion, referring it to the House Committee on FRSC. So let's get fresh insights on this issue. In the studio with us is a road safety advocate who represents, who is from the Safety Beyond Borders NGO. That's an NGO. Patrick Adenusi, welcome.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks so much for joining us on the program.
So where do you stand in the debate?
Well, I stand for the FRSC having a department that does bear arms, bearing in mind the terrain with which they operate. I have been in the road safety NGO business of creating advocacy and all the others for about 30 years. So I can talk about it.
And what's the justification for that? So if I get you correctly, there should be a special department that will empower a special category of FRSC officers to bear arms. But give us the justification for that, your position. Okay,
let me start with road safety business does not end during the day. And road safety does not end in the cities. The road safety personnel works in all terrains across the country. And so sometimes, or most times, a lot of accident happens outside the city where these men and the ladies, all of them are referred as men, they all have to go sometimes into the bushes, right into depths. And we have had issues of them having attacked by dangerous animals. So accident does not just happen in the city alone. So if we say, okay, they shouldn't bear arms, every soldier does not carry arm, the Nigerian army. The medical people don't carry arm, but they are soldiers. The people in the engineering department don't carry arm, but they are soldiers. So if we have an arm-carrying department of the FRSC to protect those men, especially in those conditions, then we are not out of place. Many years ago, when the National Security NSCDC, Civil Defense,
right?
When there was advocation, oh, they should bear arms. There were oppositions also. Oh, they are going to be terrorizing, intimidating the people. How many have we heard of NSCDC terrorizing and oppressing the citizens? They have been a useful and valuable asset to this country.
Right. Is it because of wild animals? That's why you're advocating? Because you just said now that some of these men go into the bushes to rescue victims of road accidents. Is it because of wild animals that your agency is also advocating that FRC men or a department in the FRC should bear arms?
Yeah, well, you are very comfortable in your office here in the studio, so you can say, is it because of animals?
No, but he's taking it up from what you said.
I understand.
The statement you just made.
I'm responding to you.
Right.
You can't enter my compound because of the dog I have, even in your tie. And so the value of the life of one citizen, whether road safety personnel or even the victims that they are going to rescue, matters. That is one of the biggest assets Nigeria has. And so, look, the fear is, oh, the police, The soldiers, they are terrorizing the people. So why should FRSC bear arms? That's the general fear that the people have expressed. How many of us are really harassed by soldiers carrying gun or NSCDC carrying gun?
Is that not true?
Well, do they? Yes, they do. I have not been harassed once.
Because you have not been harassed does not mean that there are several people that have been harassed by this man.
The truth is, harassment is global. It is not a Nigerian thing. I don't live in Nigeria alone. I live in some other parts of the world, and I see these things happen. If we lose 5 FRSC officials, who takes care of them and their households? The people. I drive everywhere I go in this country. I drive from Lagos to Sokoto. I drive to Calabar. I drive everywhere. So I can talk to you more about the road because my advocacy is about roads. I have gone to Damaturu to go and create road safety awareness, and I drove there, even with this Boko Haram infested stuff. That's what I am there for. Okay. So the truth is, we are afraid that, FRSC will be harassing us. My documents are all right. You pull me to a stop. Let me give you an example. When a black man is stopped by a policeman in America, the first thing you hear is, why are you stopping me? What do you do? Why? Look, but I have been stopped several times. I do not behave like the others. Good morning, good evening, or whatever time of the day it is. He says, your tail light was not on. I said, I'm sorry, I don't think that's true. He said, yeah, it is. I said, this vehicle has day running light. He said, no, your tail light is not on. I said, okay, well, you are behind me, so you saw what I cannot see.
So the approach matters.
The approach matters.
But there have been allegations, there have been, cases where Nigerians have complained of unruly, and that's even a mild description, unruly FRSC operatives, patrolling the highways. They would say these people are, at strategic, corners where even their lives, they put their lives, unnecessarily at risk. And so you respond to that. On the other hand is FRSC. Now, their position under the previous leadership is not from the angle of fear of attacks by wild animals, but their position is from the angle of them, being attacked by individuals. Are you saying that that is not a legitimate concern?
Well, yes. Is it the most abused set of federal government uniformed men in this country? FRSC. FRSC, they are the most civil. Except you beat them to stupor, they will not fight you back. This is a community I have worked in for many years, and I am still working. So I can say one or two things about them. So I belong to that household. So yes, have they been harassed? Yes, they are being harassed. You will not find anybody except drunk that will slap a soldier man or slap a police on their assignment point. But they do that to FRSC all the time. Their arms bearing is not to be attacking the citizens. I just gave an example of one of the challenges. I was privileged to be part of the people who at one point in time advocated that FRSC should bear arms. And so every member of staff of Nigerian Customs Service does not carry gun. But custom officials, the ones that are on certain dangerous routes, carry guns. Every staff of Nigerian Immigration Service does not carry gun. But you will see immigration personnel that does have arms. So, if I can throw the question to other Nigerians, so what's special about FRSC? So
you think to be able to control people on the road, there are some sections that need to carry gun. I love data, and I love to speak to data. What data do you have to be able to advocate for this particular development about harassment of some of the FRSC officials on the streets, on the roads of Nigeria?
Yes, sir. Google my name and ask people, Adenusi Patrick is synonymous to road safety. You can carry the book and say you have data. The reality of what is happening out there is far from what is in your book. or the data that you are making reference to. They assault FRSC, they assault LASMA, they assault all these VIS and all of that. We see them happen daily. If you go on YouTube, you can search FRSC assault or LASMA assault and the likes and so on. You will see a lot of...
Let's speak to FRSC. Let's leave LASMA out of this.
I belong to the transportation family, so I can flow anywhere. You know, so now it's easy for you to sit down and say that, oh yeah, you talk at the comfort. I'm not picking on you as a person. I'm talking to you as a Nigerian who thinks like you. Oh, why should FRSC bear arm? Why should Nigerian Immigration Service bear arm? Why should Nigerian Custom bear arm? Why should NSCDC bear arm? How many times have you heard Nigerian Immigration Service shooting people in the country? They bear arms. Where they need the arms, it is used. Where it is not needed, it is not used.
Okay, so let's also, place this aside, what obtains internationally in terms of best practices, global best practices in, this subject of road safety. So where is the place for this arms-bearing road safety officials, on the global scale? Okay,
I belong to the Global NGO Service group of the global NGOs. In the US, for example, when you get to an accident scene, the first vehicle you see there is the police, and that police is armed. The next vehicle you see is the fire service. They are not armed. The next vehicle you see is the ambulance. They are not armed. But there is an armed person on site. So when we say global best practices, we also need to take a look at it. If you go to Europe, you see the same sequence. You see the police get there, they cordon off the road. But in Nigeria today, even if there is an incident, how many policemen do we have as workforce? We don't have enough yet to police the citizens, the nation. And so do we want to set up a number apart that is going to be policing FRSC officials?
Are you saying the FRSC concept is peculiar to Nigeria?
In other parts of the world, in the western part of the world, the FRSC and the police, they are in a unit.
Okay, so when you talk about highway crashes, that arm of the police goes there.
Yes.
Okay, as against what we have in Nigeria.
As against what we have in Nigeria. What we have in Nigeria, other parts of the world, even United Nations has recommended to the member states to adopt the Nigerian standard. It's focused to road safety. The number of people that are killed on Nigerian roads daily and across the world is so high that at the very least, about 3,500 are killed on world roads daily.
Right.
So that brings attention to road safety issues.
Right. And so shouldn't that be the priority?
When you say the priority, I am saying when I am coming to rescue you, should I be at risk? The number one person that needs to think safety first is me that is coming to rescue you. If I am endangered, I am not going to come to rescue you.
Right.
So in preserving me in some dangerous conditions, you don't need an arm to rescue somebody who is trapped in a vehicle or whom about a year ago I narrowly escaped being crushed by a falling container. If that container had fallen on my car and on a solo road, they don't need a gun to lift that. And the guns are not needed there.
Okay, so
in the Nigerian police, for example, they have a department called Criminal Investigation Department. Not all policemen are Criminal Investigation Department. We desire to have an arm, a squad within the FRSC, even in the police in other parts of the world. They have the ones they call the SWAT team. Those are the ones that goes for critical operations. That's what we're talking about.
Okay. If this bill is passed into law, let's give the projection. What are those necessary measures, regulations that need to be put in place? Because if the police is armed, the army is armed. You are advocating for the FRSC department to be armed. Where do we go from here? The rules and regulations.
A detachment of the FRSC to be armed.
That's
not the global FRSC to be armed.
So what are those basic rules and regulations that you think should be put in place?
The rules of engagement. Indeed.
Today, Nigeria, the most civil federal government agency is FRSC. They will still maintain their civility, and they are not going to, I mean, you don't give a gun to somebody and don't let them know that, look, this is a weapon, it can kill, the mode of operation, when to use and when not to use. Every agency that bears arms, that's why you don't see custom go on the street and start shooting people at rampage. They don't do that, but they carry gun. When it is needed, they deploy. So in the same vein, if we empower the FRSC squad to also bear arms, it will be applied where it is necessary. How many times, yes, we have heard of accidental discharge, some police issues, but in recent years, within the last 25 years, how many of those similar kind of accidental discharge that we used to hear in those days do you see? Do we really hear happen?
But 25 years is a long time. You remember NSAS? NSAS is still fresh in our memories, and that's less than 5 years ago.
NSAS was a unit. It was a pack of youth who were dissatisfied with the way their country is being administered.
Police brutality was one of their key.
No, it wasn't one of their key. It was the key.
Yes, but eventually it broadened. It broadened to, seeking reforms across various sectors. It eventually, developed more flesh. Yes, you're right. It was primarily at the start against police brutality, but, that went on to be expanded.
Very true.
Right. But
is yet to finally answer that question.
Right, to land on that point.
On that point.
Right.
Rules and regulations, what should be put in place that will make the same civil organization that you've been talking about?
Every engagement comes with their rules.
Okay.
Just like we're on air right now, we're not going to be drinking soft drink here and display the bottles because that company has not paid for advertisement. We'll be cheaply advertising them if we do. The rules of engagement for bearing arms, just like NSCDC do have rules, Nigerian Army do have rules. The rules of engagement will also be put across to the men of the FRSC when this comes into play. And let's also not forget that civility that has been inculcated in them from inception still exists.
It's debatable if you are talking about, because you've been saying this, it's becoming a recurring decimal that you've been saying that
because
they are
I
civil.
know them.
A police officer will also say they are also civil.
No, I can say that anywhere. No, they are not as, I said, the most civil. They are not as civil as the FRSC.
It's debatable because those people who have experiences will tell you that they've had encounter with some of these men and they have been able to prove their point, and they were wrong in some of the arrests that they have made.
Okay, so you are an insider, so let's even tap your brains further because come to think of it, the police, for example, now in response to the outcry by Nigerians over, brutality excesses on the part of the police. For Nigerians listening to you, watching you, who may have had a rough deal at the hands of FRSC officials, in terms of a portal, in terms of an engagement with the system to have their rights, to get redress, so to speak, what do you make of the current system within the FRSC so that if and when we get to that position of a unit within the FRSC bearing arms, so, for concerns, because the outcry out there, you are actually representing a very interesting decimal in this debate on should FRSC bear arms, because largely the feedback we are getting is no, a loud no. So to assuage concerns of, okay, if we get to that point where we are having an erratic FRSC officer bearing arms, so how do we engage the system?
There's an improvement in our country today. Years ago, any military or armed person or government officials would do anything and go with it. Today we have our phones, we have glasses that have capacity to record. We have earpieces. So people are just walking on the street. You don't even know how wired they are. Most recently is the one for the general in Abuja. So that will be recorded. It will be brought to the social media. Beyond that is that most of the administrations of military or paramilitary today, they now have a much more friendly reporting system.
Even the FRSC?
Even the FRSC. The police call today to make a report about the police, they will take action.
And how quick did they get those actions?
You are a Nigerian.
Right.
You are a Nigerian.
Right.
No, you should speak as well. You are also advocating for them.
You are a Nigerian.
Indeed.
How quick do you get it? As quick as quick.
Okay,
just a moment, Kemi. I hope LASMA too will not be advocating that they should also be arms.
No, easy. LASMA operations are within the city. Now, I say something. My heart quakes, and I am very pained that a LASMA official was stoned to death in this Lagos, and they were not the people who did it were not prosecuted. And that guy died free of charge, doing the job of say you can't park here. These uniformed people, they are not Indians. They are not from space. They are co-citizens like you and I.
Right.
They are engaged to make this country a better place. If everybody is doing anything that we like to do, which is unfortunately what is going on right now, you see vehicles on our road. Another one I just saw recently as I came back is I now see all manner and types of boys driving around the country with diplomatic car plate numbers. As I was coming here this morning, I left the house about 5 a.m. because I don't like getting late for programs. I still saw cars on Third Milan Bridge. Their plate numbers are concealed.
Okay. Right. But we have totally run out of time. If you can spare 10 seconds now to speak to the current state of our roads, and how we can also push for that to ensure that our roads are safer, Nigerians are safer.
I like to appeal to the federal government that it is their responsibility to ensure that we have very good roads. Our roads are in sorry state. Our roads are deaf. Roads are supposed to speak to everybody that is on it, on every inch. Okay. Our roads don't have signages. We don't have road markings. But knowing that the road is in terrible state, and I'm still driving at 140, something is wrong with me.
The road is in terrible state, and the FRSC is also asking for the road worthy certificates.
No, it's not FRSC that is asking for roads. The VIO.
The
VIO's role is to ask you, is your vehicle...
State of your vehicle.
The state of your vehicle. Yes.
Right.
Now, in other parts of the world, that is applicable.
The norm.
And so we have also gone global, where we belong to the United Nations family, and so we cannot go outside what they have. Though the roads are sick, but you keep yours.
Your vehicle.
Take care of yourself first.
Right.
Make sure that your vehicle is in good state, that you are not going to run into someone. But someday, as we keep talking to the federal government, I'm sure they will do.
Right. We really should bring you back because we've run out of time now to talk some more about this. At least the bill is before the House. We'll see how it all goes, in the end, and hope that everyone's concerns are truly balanced out. Patrick Adenosi, road safety expert, we thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
You're watching TVC Breakfast.